They say the mirror ritual shows you the version of yourself you were never meant to meet. That at precisely 4:12 in the morning, if you stand before a mirror and simply stare, something stares back. An urban legend, a ghost story for the digital age, a dare passed around in hushed tones on late night feeds. It's just a trend, they said, harmless, but some trends, they have teeth. For Ethan, scrolling through endless videos in the dead of night, it was a challenge he couldn't ignore. The rules were simple, almost insultingly so. Stand still at 4:12 a.m. Stare into your own eyes. Do not blink. Do not smile. And most importantly, do not speak. Just another piece of viral nonsense, a way to kill time when sleep wouldn't come. He placed his phone down, the screen's glow dying, leaving him in the cold, silver light of the moon filtering through his bedroom window. The house was a tomb of silence. Every floorboard creak, every sigh of the wind outside felt amplified, as if the world was holding its breath with him. He walked toward the tall, antique mirror standing in the corner of his room. It had been there for years, a silent witness to his life. Tonight it felt different. It felt like an audience. The digital clock on his nightstand glowed a menacing red. 04:11. 1 minute left. He positioned himself before the glass, his reflection a tired, pale imitation under the moonlight. The seconds ticked by, each one a hammer blow against the silence. Then the numbers changed. 04:12. The ritual had begun. He locked eyes with the man in the mirror, his own eyes, familiar yet suddenly alien. He focused on his breathing, keeping it steady, fighting the primal urge to look away, to break the connection. The air in the room grew thick, heavy, like the moments before a storm breaks. A low, faint hum started, a vibration that seemed to come from inside the walls, or maybe inside his own head. He ignored it. Rule 1. Stand still. His reflection stood still with him. A perfect, unwavering copy. The minutes stretched into an eternity. 1 minute passed, then 2. His eyes burned, begging him to blink, but he held fast. And then it happened. A flicker of movement so small he almost missed it. His reflection blinked. He hadn't. A cold dread, sharp and icy, trickled down his spine. He remained frozen, his face a mask of calm. But inside, a silent scream was building. He watched, transfixed, as the corners of his reflection's mouth began to twitch. Slowly, unnaturally, a smile spread across its face. A wide, knowing smile that didn't reach its eyes. His own face remained stoic, serious, just as the rules dictated. The man in the mirror tilted his head, a gesture of curiosity, of appraisal. Ethan stood his ground, a statue of flesh and blood. A whisper, like dry leaves skittering across pavement, filled the room. "Can you hear me?" The voice was right behind him, a breath against his neck, but his reflection's mouth hadn't moved. It just kept smiling that terrible, silent smile. The world began to unravel. The lamp on his desk flickered once, twice, then plunged the room into a deeper darkness. The only light now was a sickly, ethereal glow emanating from the mirror itself, illuminating the grinning figure within. He could feel the goosebumps rise on his arms, a rash of pure fear. His breath hitched, turning into shallow, shaky gasps. He could hear the clock on his nightstand, but the ticks were slowing down, stretching out, warping time itself. The reflection raised a hand, pressing its palm flat against the inside of the glass. The mirror's surface, once solid, rippled like a pond disturbed by a stone. The light from within shimmered, distorted. This was impossible. This wasn't real. Ethan took a slow, deliberate step back, breaking the stillness. A mistake. When his eyes snapped back to the mirror, the reflection wasn't mimicking him anymore. It was closer, pressed right against the glass, its face larger, its smile wider. A soft, chilling laugh echoed not from the room, but from inside the mirror, a sound from another place. The reflection's voice came again, no longer a whisper, but a clear, tempting invitation. "Switch with me." And behind it, through the shimmering surface, Ethan saw it. A world within the glass. A long, dark hallway stretched into foggy infinity, lined with flickering red exit signs. Silhouettes, twisted and wrong, moved like phantoms in the distant haze. This wasn't just a reflection, it was a prison, and something wanted out. The figure in the mirror placed its other hand on the glass and began to push. The mirror bulged outward, the frame groaning under the pressure. Panic, raw and overwhelming, finally shattered Ethan's composure. He lunged for the heavy lamp on his desk, swinging it with all his might against the mirror. It connected with a dull thud, but the glass didn't break. It didn't even scratch. It just absorbed the impact, the ripples on its surface smoothing out. The reflection's grin widened into a triumphant sneer. Behind him, his bedroom door slammed shut with a deafening crack, sealing him in. The lights went out completely, leaving only the predatory glow of the mirror, trapped. The reflection stopped pushing. It simply stood there, watching him. Its chest rose and fell, not with its own breath, but with his. It was sinking with him, matching his panicked breathing perfectly. A predator studying its cornered prey. And then, its voice, a cold command that cut through the darkness. "Turn around." Ethan squeezed his eyes shut, shaking his head. He would not look away from the mirror. He would not turn his back on it. He could feel its anger, a palpable wave of malice rolling out of the glass. The reflection's face began to distort, its features pulling and stretching like hot wax. Its smiling mouth opened, wider and wider, impossibly wide, an unholy canyon of darkness. The room itself began to vibrate violently. Books fell from his shelves, the floor shook beneath his feet, and then he felt it. A pull, a force, invisible and irresistible, was dragging him toward the mirror. He screamed, a raw, desperate sound, swallowed by the vibrating room. He grabbed onto his desk, his fingers digging into the wood, trying to anchor himself. But it was like fighting a phantom tide. The force grew stronger, pulling him relentlessly. His feet slid across the floor, his shoes scraping against the wood. He was losing. He looked at the mirror one last time. His own face, a mask of pure terror. And opposite him, his reflection's face, alight with a monstrous, ecstatic joy. The world became a blur of motion, a vortex of light and shadow pulling him forward, and then, nothing. Silence. The vibration stopped. The unholy glow from the mirror vanished. The lights in the room flickered back on, returning to their normal, soft state. The bedroom was exactly as it had been. Quiet, still. The sun began to rise, painting the sky in hues of orange and pink. A new day had begun. The room was empty. The mirror was just a mirror again. But then, a shape began to form in the glass. Someone was standing in the dark hallway inside. The figure stepped forward, emerging from the depths, until it stood where the reflection had been. But this time, it stepped through. It crossed the threshold from glass to wood, from its world to ours. It was Ethan, or what looked like him. He stood in the quiet morning light, taking a slow, deep breath of the air in the room. He turned his head, looking around with a sense of newfound ownership. Then his eyes found the camera. He smiled, a slow, terrible smile. And as the world faded to black, a final warning hung in the air. Do not try this ritual.